Right, I know Dunkirk is the big film in the moment, Christopher Nolan, master filmmaker, all that jazz, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that the main reason I wanted to watch Dunkirk was to see Harry Styles getting shot. And I tweeted a joke like that months ago and it got picked up by some crazed Harry Styles fan account. Bad idea. You do not want to incur the wrath of 13-year-old girls. He's fine, I liked him in this, now please, can I have my family back? Dunkirk is Christopher Nolan's latest film and his first since Inception in which he has sole writing credit. It centres around the evacuation of Allied forces from the beaches of Dunkirk in May-June 1940, although the characters portrayed are fictional. Christopher Nolan's a filmmaker fascinated with time and non-linear perspectives, so we see the events of the evacuation of Dunkirk from three separate perspectives: foot soldiers on the land, sailors in the sea, and pilots in the air, all with time windows that intertwine and interact. On the land we follow newcomer Fionn Whitehead for 1 month. We're introduced to his squadron, platoon, I don't really know the correct term, but we're introduced to a group of soldiers, including himself, tearing through the streets of Dunkirk under heavy fire from the Germans. He makes it onto the beach and we see snippets of his continued attempts at survival, and it's with him that we encounter the likes of Harry Styles as other weary soldiers just trying to get off the beach. On the sea we're with Mark Rylance for 1 day as a civilian sailing one of hundreds of small private boats on the way to Dunkirk to try and rescue the soldiers stranded on the beach. And in the air we're with Tom Hardy and Jack Lowden for 1 hour as Spitfire pilots engaged in dogfights across the English Channel. It's actually quite hard to describe the plot of Dunkirk because, to be quite honest, there isn't one. And I don't mean that in a bad way like you might say about a throwaway comedy. What Nolan has done here is he's intentionally done away with most of the expected elements of a movie's story and structure to focus on these characters' fight for survival. I'm pretty sure if you're stuck in the middle of a war zone, survival is the only thing you care about, and that's what Nolan is trying to make his audience experience. You are trapped in there with them and there is no easy way out. It gets intense. And yes, with no discernible plot, that does mean there's a distinct lack of story or character development, but that's not the point. I've heard a lot of complaints that these characters don't talk to each other, we don't learn anything about the characters, and there's no character development, and well, that's true. There's a difference between a lack of development and intentionally choosing not to explore it. Christopher Nolan has very consciously decided that his film is going to subvert the expectations of a patriotic Hollywood war movie and instead be about nothing other than these men attempting to stay alive. So what we're left with is essentially one feature-length chaotic set piece, but it's not just mindless action for the sake of it. That's why the likes of Transformers don't work. Not that I'm comparing Dunkirk and Transformers, right? That's like comparing an ice cold glass of delicious Diet Coke to Tesco everyday value sugar-free cola flavoured beverage, right? Ain't exactly Sophie's choice. It's in service of how Christopher Nolan wants to convey the horrors of this situation. Dunkirk strips the tropes you expect from a war movie, the politics, late night heart-to-hearts, the against all odds gunfight, etc., down to nothing but desperation and survival. The camera rarely leaves the side of the protagonist while they're bombarded with attack after attack, and we are trapped in there with them. We don't get any shots of generals commanding safely from a distance in war rooms, no worried wives at home, nothing to give us any breathing space from the fight to get off the beaches of Dunkirk. I'm kind of in two minds about the whole no character development thing. On the one hand, it makes total sense. If you're in the middle of a conflict being assaulted on all sides by an enemy that you can't even see, you wouldn't be like, whoa, we're surviving this round? Alright, cool. Hey, Harry Styles, tell me about your hopes and dreams. This isn't a war movie about one or two heroic main characters. As much as we do get protagonists, it's a disaster movie about the events of Dunkirk as a whole, and in a way, the hundreds of thousands of soldiers there as one. It's the exact opposite of movies like Titanic or The Impossible that take disasters where thousands of people died and make those events backdrops to a cheesy, artificial love story or something. Nolan wants us thinking about nothing other than the dangers immediately facing these characters, for us to focus on the dehumanization and the dread these soldiers would have experienced, and I tell you what, he's bloody successful at it. Don't get me wrong, I understand why he did it, and I think it does reflect reality, but I was dangerously close to not caring about these characters, even when they were in mortal peril. A lot of people, including myself, do like something to latch onto. War movies aren't usually about nothing other than the events of that particular battle. It's usually a human, character-driven story heightened by the perils of war. I mean, look at 3 examples of great war movies. Saving Private Ryan is a World War II movie, but it's more about a group of brave men giving everything they've got in order to save one man. Apocalypse Now is about a man confronting his own dark nature while on his way to assassinate a colonel. And Bride Wars is about 2 lifelong best friends being torn apart by societal pressures and marriage. I can understand why a lack of character will put people off, but is that worse than being overly melodramatic? If you're going to intentionally exclude things like character development, you'd better make goddamn sure what you're left with can hold the audience's attention. Luckily it does, because the entire runtime of Dunkirk is essentially Christopher Nolan and his sound team showing off. Sound design especially is immense. Every gunshot, bomb blast and impact feels like it's happening to you. I saw Dunkirk in IMAX and I swear it sounded like they'd hired a real Spitfire to fly around the auditorium. Hans Zimmer's score is also a huge component to how intense this film gets. His score adds a real depth and constant sense of danger. It has like a stopwatch ticking motif from start to finish that keeps you on the edge of your seat and feeling like danger is always right around the corner, which it is. The constant ticking and rising shepherd tones not so subtly reminding you that for these soldiers, time is running out. Technically, Dunkirk is just brilliant. It's clearly a movie that's been designed to be seen on a huge, loud screen, and I could talk about some of the directorial techniques Nolan uses and places cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema puts the camera to immerse you in the story, but really you should go see it for yourself without me giving anything away. One thing that I do want to say about Nolan's direction though is that he ends the movie on a fantastic visual metaphor, and that to me is a touch of a master director. He can distill the themes and the spirit of the movie into one stunning shot, and working alongside Hoytema, who's the DP for the likes of Interstellar and Her, means that of course the cinematography and the colour grading throughout is beautiful. I will say this, go see it in IMAX. It's the first film of the year that I fully recommend seeing it in IMAX if you can. It's well worth the extra money for the scale and the sound, and I promise it won't be regretted. Because for a film like this that's kind of like being there and it's all huge images and deafening noises, I reckon it might lose a lot of its impact when watched on a laptop. And yes, there are special 70mm engagements, but 70mm, that's like 7 centimeters. Even a normal cinema screen is much bigger than that. Dunkirk is a truly visceral and stunning cinematic experience that you should see on the biggest, loudest screen possible. In its depiction of war, it is genuinely one of the best out there. It's chaotic, it's vivid, and Nolan makes you feel like you're a part of it. However, its lack of character did leave something to be desired, and I guess you could say that how these characters react to the situations they're in is all the characterization you need, but I still would have liked a little tatting, and because of that I really don't see myself going out to see Dunkirk again, especially on a subpar home entertainment system. So I'm going to give Dunkirk 4 popcorns, but like a very high 4 popcorns that just misses out on that full score. And I know this is a film that we're not like to say anything bad about, but that's just my opinion, so if you want to fight me on it, do it in the comments below. That's what they're there for, right? Thanks very much for watching my review of Dunkirk. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and if you've seen the film, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you want to see more, you can click that box there to see my latest video, and you can click that box there to see a playlist of my latest reviews. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.